As usual, I'm not very well prepared for this, and I'm just kind of jumping in, and there might be some bumbling and stumbling here and there. I don't know how to record higher than 30 FPS in this configuration, and I don't know how to change my microphone gain. So if I'm saturating the microphone here and there, that's why. I have it far away from me in order to avoid that as much as possible. I don't have a way to filter the noise out as well, so there's going to be some noise in the audio. It's probably only going to be 30 FPS, but we're going to roll with this. So to kind of summarize up front what's going on here, this is pertaining to Never7 and how Never7 oftentimes, actually usually, does not launch on Windows 10. Sometimes it will launch a process and it will start if you open Task Manager, you can see like a process called Infinity that's running, but that process never actually creates a window, and you can't, and so as such, you cannot actually play the game. It will occasionally launch in Windows 10 when it feels like it on a good day, as I got demonstrated, but it doesn't do it very often. So, but I had managed to demonstrate, I saturated the mic again, this is really problematic, let's move the mic back some more. I have demonstrated, and this was a few sessions ago, that I can get it to work reliably on Windows 7, right? I installed it on Windows 7, I applied the English patch on Windows 7, and then I could launch it, close it, relaunch it, close it and relaunch it at will. So on a Windows 7 or older Windows system, so probably Windows Vista XP, it would also be fine. Windows ME in 2000 would probably work too, although I haven't tried them. You can get it to work. So that kind of raises the question, okay, for games, for retro games and software where they don't really run well on Windows 10, which you can encounter every once in a while, the only ones I've encountered so far are the unpatched version of The Legend of Matanui. The Beaver House and the Biomedia Project managed to figure out a way to make a virtual video card, like a virtual voodoo card, and get to work on Windows 10, but originally it did not. And this game, Never7, Ever 17 runs fine. The font's funny, but it will run. And then there's actually a Korean game that I downloaded recently that the person, I haven't tried running it, but the person who made it said that it would probably only work well on Windows 7. I'll have to see if that claim is true. So these things appear every once in a while. So how would I handle them? My old Windows 7 machine is old, it's decrepit, the screen doesn't even stay upright on it anymore, it's a laptop. It overheats, it memory leaks, it's a mess. And it's not sustainable for continued running of Windows not forwards compatible applications. And it doesn't have enough power really to run screen recording software. You can install OBS on it, as I've done, but you'll notice it can only record very low quality. And even still, as it heats up over time, the encoder will eventually start overloading. It cannot sustain even low quality video recording for the amount of time I typically record, which is like hours on end sometimes. So some of the options I thought of and looked at were VirtualBox, right? Setting up a Windows 7 virtual machine. Also, I watched Linus Tech Tips video on PCM. That's the first time, it came out recently. That's the first time I learned about PCM, which is kind of interesting. It's emulating a PC on a PC, which sounds redundant, but you do it because you're emulating an older version of Windows on top of the new version of Windows that your computer natively runs. And actually can work better than a virtual machine because you are virtualizing the vintage hardware as opposed to actually trying to run the vintage software on your new hardware. So there's actually reasons why PCM might actually work better than VirtualBox. For both of those options, though, you need an install media for the old version of Windows, which you could probably find off my parents or something because they hold on to old install media, and a product key. So you need to activate those windows for both the emulator and the virtual machine. So you need to know to go out and find and buy an old Windows product key. A bit of a hassle, but doable, right? I mean, it's not like that's like game over, but you know, I don't necessarily want to mess with that if I don't have to. So then I thought, what if I try something else? I kind of like got this idea all of a sudden. What if I try using Wine? Because Wine has, you know, Windows 7 mode, Windows XP mode, and so on. It can run vintage Windows software, and I don't have to install a new Windows. I don't have to buy a new product key. All I need is Linux, any distribution, and Linux is free. Only thing you need to pay is your time in order to set it up. As you can see, this is like what I'm recording on my screen right now. Not much activity is happening. It's like the desktop for a distribution of Ubuntu that's out of date, but I'm having a hard time updating it. I'll get it updated eventually. But you might recognize this cougar thing graphic from older versions of Ubuntu. So I already have a Linux, like a hard drive with Linux installed on it, and I have a dual boot, and I already had Linux going. So installing Wine is really simple. It's just sudo apt-get install Wine. So, and Wine is also very simple and easy to use, right? There's, let me open up a terminal here. So that's Control-Alt-T, by the way, on at least it works on GNOME. So let's try to move my terminal, if I can get this to work, into my other screen. Ah, my screen wrapping's all messed up. That's funny. Okay. I have that thing going where I have like a monitor on my left and another monitor on my right. And I got them all, the configuration all messed up such that the computer thinks the monitors actually are the opposite orientation. So I have like this looping thing going on. It's like that Danganronpa case. Anyway, so yeah, you were just typing in something like, it's just I'm not going to do it because I already have Wine, but this is how you install Wine, okay? Wine is really easy to set up. You just do Wine CFG. And it prints out some junk, but this is the, oh my god, I'm going to have to fix this orientation. It's going to drive me nuts. You can, pick a Windows version. I'm going to put it on XP, because I'm going to do a really old game. It's in the XP era. And I can go to add some drives here. And I already have like the game, like the play disk already inserted, and it's already detecting. But I'm going to detect all the other drives I can do. So I also detected the home for Stagilitor, and I said hit apply and hit OK. And then if you want to, like, I'm not going to use it this way, but if you want to make your Wine look like a file system, you can do, so like there's a really convenient little GUI you can do called Wine file. And let me put my Wine file on the monitor at which I'm recording. It's way too big because I have a 4K and stuff. So yeah, you can use this if you want. You can use Wine file if you want to. Anyway, I'm not going to use it that way personally. I'm also going to cut out a part of the video that I just did. So you can use Wine file. I opened Wine file. I saw something I didn't like in there for the video, so I'm probably going to cut actually the showing of Wine file. Actually, I can fix that. There we go. This is what the yeah. Okay. Oh well. Like what was going on there? You do have like a little GUI user interface. It's really convenient with Wine file, but I have to make some cuts. So first thing I have to, so you install Wine, right? But next thing you have to worry about with like vintage and foreign games is the character set. So let me go launch the game with Wine. It'll show you what I mean. This actually has to do with the system locale. I don't know why these are green, but... And then I'm going to do Wine. So first I'll do win3d.exe. And this is what I see. I'm going to make it windowed. That's what that does. And on a launch. And you can see it plays with the background music. I'm going to edit the video so the background music is lower so it doesn't get me in copyright trouble. Now, unfortunately, when this game is on this monitor, it doesn't capture right. So I don't know why. So I'm going to add a new source here in OBS. It's going to be a window capture. Okay. And I'm going to what I'm going to capture is, oh my goodness. Window capture X composite. That window's still open. And hit Never7. Okay, so this isn't how it actually looks like on my screen because, you know, it's a window. It's not like part of my recording box like this. Like I can actually bring the window to the front and show you the window, right? It looks like that. That's what it actually looks like. But it doesn't actually update correctly if I have it on the non-primary monitor, okay? So, as you can see, some of the characters show up, but there are a few that don't. So there are these like little boxes here that indicate characters that that are there, but it doesn't know how to like decode them. It doesn't know how to show them to the user. As you can see, the font's perfectly fine. The hiragana, katakana, and kanji are nice and square, and so it looks like how you would kind of expect the game to look. So it looks fine. But you don't see those few characters. Now, I'm going to close the game. As you can tell, I had the game disc. I had the CD in there because the background music was playing, right? So I was able to read it and everything was fine. I'm going to let's get this terminal going here. Let's see, English, and then I'm going to do OGG, I believe, to get that to launch. And we notice some interesting things being spit out on the terminal here. It's missing it's looking for a file called ost.track, and it didn't find it. Okay, we'll get back to that later. But this is the this thing that I see. So I'm going to pick Window. I'm going to hit Start. And it launches. And I can go into it. And you'll notice that it doesn't show any of the Roman characters whatsoever, and all I get is boxes. And of course, no background music plays because it can't find this ost.track file. Now, it did open, so a different file I did have in that directory called mute.track. And it's looking for these tracks 1 through 25 named Never7 PSP in the Never7 PSP directory, track whatever.ogg. But those don't really exist either, but because the syntax of mute.track, it somehow manages to like just load nothing instead of those files. So anyway, that's what's going on with the OGG. Now what's even more interesting and alarming here, for my monitor to come back up, is I'm going to now do the CD one. And we're going to see it launch. And this is they call it the start menu that comes up. Let me drag it over. You can see that. I hit start. Okay, and it launches. And then it tries to read the CD, but as you can see, you get this like timing out, like it takes too long to retrieve the data from the CD. Hit new game, and it does this nonsense. Right? There's something it's waiting to happen, it's taking too long, and it's timing out. So, that's interesting. But anyway, so how do we try to fix the whole font problem and character problem? Well, one thing I tried was changing the locale. So how do you change the locale, at least on Genome? So first thing you want to do to add a Japanese locale is you type in sudo nano, and then the text file is under var lib locales supported. There's two P's in supported. I don't know how to spell. D/Japan, but that's just JA. So you open this text file, and I'm doing it sudo, so I have to type in a password. And you want to have these 3 lines in that file. So JA underscore JP, UTF-8, UTF-8, JA underscore JP, SJIS, and then JA underscore JP, EUC underscore JP, underscore, just space EUC JP. I actually don't remember whether or not you want to have this twice or whether or not that it shows up later when you initialize, when you set up when you configure your locales. But eventually it's got to look like this. And it should probably work fine if you just have it look exactly like this. So I'm going to exit out of this. Then you configure your locale. So sudo dpkg reconfigure locales. And you do all locales. And I want to keep my default language as English. And this is something kind of different about Linux natively than Windows, where in Windows, if you want to run stuff in a different system locale, you have to change the system locale all system-wide and reboot. There is a program called Locale Emulator that I downloaded at one point. I didn't really trying to solve a different problem that I didn't actually need it for. So that might work. To make this kind of behavior on Linux, where you can run different programs in different locales. I haven't, so you might want to something you want to look up. But it's like third-party software. Like Windows by itself doesn't account for doing different locales for different programs, unlike Ubuntu here. So you notice that it wasn't able to set up SJIS, whatever, right? So now I'm going to run these same, one more command I can go through here. Locale-A will give you, A stands for all, will give you a list of all your locales. So let's back up to here. So now I'm going to run the Japanese version with the following stuff at the beginning of my command, which is just lc underscore all is equal to ja underscore jp. And this should run it in the Japanese locale. Now, why did it give me a command not found? Is there supposed to be no spaces? Yeah, okay, it put spaces where there shouldn't have been spaces, I think. Yeah, okay. That gave me a panic. So, now that I know what I'm doing, so now you can see that it'll actually give you the Japanese characters in the start menu. So, that's good. And then it'll actually give you this warning about windowed mode. And then we can actually launch the game. The background music works, of course. And then we have this problem, which you may remember from Windows 10, where the font is crushed. Now, if you're a Japanese person, this would still be readable to you, but it appears to be not how it's supposed to be. And you also see we don't have those boxes anymore, right? We see have these like ... characters actually appear, but you notice they're crushed. Like if they were at the right width, like these ellipses would actually go into each other. So it'd be like ... But because they're crushed, you see these little ... big gap ... So we actually get the ellipse characters showing up, but the font is just crushing all the characters, right? So again, so some of these kanji might be crazy hard to read given how crushed they are, and OCR would have no way of doing this, no way of interpreting this. So interesting. So making the locale Japanese crushes the characters like horizontally, like in Windows 10. Now let's try doing English here. So let's do, this is the English one that doesn't lag. It just tells me that there's like this soundtrack thing it hasn't found. And I got to launch, right? And then, oh, I'm an idiot. What did I forget to do, kids? I forgot to make the locale Japanese. Let's do that. I didn't do what I was planning to demonstrate I was doing. Okay. Okay, cool. It's just showing you this. Okay. And now we can see the Roman characters. But of course, just like the Japanese characters, they are horizontally crushed. So me, as someone who can read English, why is it not showing up on my OBS? Okay, just an example. For some reason, it's not window capturing. Did that happen with the other time I brought this up, where it was just like squares? I'll have to look back at the video and see that. But anyway, you see that these it's like not, OBS is not cooperating. Yeah, OBS is not cooperating. So here's a still image because when I dragged this to the wrong monitor, it's like still. You can see that this, could those be my words, is like really, really crushed. Where the M and the W don't even look like M's and W's. Now, you can still read it. Like, as an American English speaker, it's still readable. Moving on to the next, or someone else's, right? Move on to the next line. But it's obviously not how it's supposed to look, right? It's still crushed. So that's a problem. So I'm going to close out of it. And I'll just for kicks, I'll launch the CD one too. But it's going to be all laggy and weird because when I launch the CD one with the English patch, it just gets all laggy and weird. And for some reason, OBS isn't capturing it, so there it is open, but it's doing that don't thing, right? And I can hit new game, and then it just lags out, and I'm just going to close it. Okay. So, So that's kind of like the status, right? Like with wine. If you don't have your locale set to Japanese, then if you apply the English patch, you can't read it because it's just all squares. You don't get any of the characters. If you apply the English patch in, if you put the locale to Japanese, then it crushes all the characters horizontally, and you can still read it, but it's a little bit funky looking, right? It's not ideal looking. At least you can read the English. The Japanese might be terrible trying to read it because you're crushing all those kanji horizontally. So, but going back to like going back to the OGG a bit here. You notice that there is some new information. Oh, now it captures this. It didn't capture Shiro as a Japanese locale for some reason. Whatever with OBS. So when I launch this, I get this junk here in my terminal, right? Oops. I get this junk in my terminal, where it's like I'm looking for ost.track, and then once I can't find it, so I try using mute.track, right? And then I can use that. So where are you? Where's the game? What's going on here? I need to kill this. I need to kill the game somehow. I can't find the game on my screen. Okay. The movie's also not playing. That'd be another issue. So let's actually investigate that a little bit. So I'm going to do nano mute.track. And for some reason, it doesn't actually give me the text. That's weird. If I open it in Notepad and Windows, it tells me it. So mute. Okay, so for some reason I can't do it right now because I'm in Linux and Nano is weird and it's not actually. No, I'm gonna try again here. No, it's all messed up. Okay. No, it's not. Okay. I know what's happening. So let's walk through this here. The track file is just a text file. And it's a very weirdly formatted text file. So if you were to open this in Windows and Notepad, all these like @ signs here, these caret @ signs, those are white space. But notice they're kind of weird white space here because they show up as caret @ signs in Nano. So like they're just really weird white space. And then this here, this P apostrophe, this up P in the Shift Control P. If you look at that in Windows and Notepad, it looks like a cross. It's not the conjugate cross or transpose conjugate cross. Hermitian conjugate cross is a different kind of cross where there's like the same amount on the top and the bottom. So like the cross part goes through the middle of it vertically. And it says, so you would see track, and you would see this P stuff. Then you see mute, M-U-T-E, some more white space. O-S-O-U-N-D, sound, T-R-A-C-K, track, and some white space. Then you see Never7 PSP /track _1. And then it just keeps going, like, you see a period here. It keeps going like this list of tracks. Never7 PSP, the directory inside of that, track _2, and so on. So this seems to indicate that you could get the soundtrack working if you had either a mute.track or an ost.track, a text file like this. I'm going to exit it now, where you actually had this directory that's named Never7 PSP, right? If I can scroll up in the terminal here, this directory called Never7 PSP in your game directory, and have these files, these called track1.ogg, track2.ogg, and so on, right? And, you know, I have the audio CD here. I'm going to bring it up and get it so OBS can see it. So you can see this, right? And it also has 26 tracks in there, of course, .wav files, because it's an audio CD, not 25 tracks. It's really kind of somewhat hard to tell which track is the extra one. I don't know which. You might guess that hopefully it's track 26. And I'm going to load up one of these tracks here. Let's see if you can hear it playing, right? I'm going to edit it so that volume's way lower. I'm going to talk over it to make it so they don't get copyright claim for this. But you can hear the track playing, of course. So, and it's kind of, I'm going to close out of here. And it's an audio CD, so you can put this play disc in like your CD player in your car, and it will like play the soundtrack of Never7 while you're driving. And I presume that I can like run Audacity, right? I can like do Audacity. I forgot if like it's installed for all users or not. This is like off the cuff here. Is that how you spell Audacity? Start and ask next time. Yeah, and then let me put Audacity where you can see it. And then on Audacity, you can import a WAV, right? Let's see here. Well, I don't know quite. This is like off the cuff. I wasn't very prepared here. For how to import it, how to find the files and import them. But it can take in WAV files, right? As you can see, it can import WAV files. And then you can export as an OGG, right? So I can theoretically take Audacity, right, and use it to convert the .wav files in the audio CD to OGGs. Put them in like a directory, get a text file up and ready that will find them, and then it will work. That could theoretically violate some copyright laws because I'm getting around a DRM like setup with Never7, where in order to get to work with the background music, you need to have a physical CD. It's like a copyright protection measure, and bypassing copyright protection measures, even if it's not actually to violate the copyright, is illegal in the United States, which I find absolutely ridiculous, but it is a truth, so you have to deal with it. And also, you might be bypassing a copyright protection measure on the disc, on the soundtrack disc itself. So, kind of like a fun fact: the soundtrack for Never7 is not abandonware. Mages still sells it. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy the individual songs too. So, even if it was abandonware, it still would be okay by Japanese copyright law and the Burns Treaty to just like copy it and download it and stuff. Like, that's not how abandonware works. The copyright sticks around, which again I think is a bad thing, but that's just how it works, like it or not, right? But it's not even abandonware; like it's actually still commercially available. But that's theoretically, you could theoretically do that, right? As I demonstrated, like the idea is in my head. I was I'm too lazy, and I'm just like, I'm just really lazy. So I went and got a it was like my expression. I went to hell, and I came back with the sound files. So I'm just gonna Control A. I'm just gonna paste them in to my game directory here. And then, this is real time, I'm going to launch this and see if the background music plays. So this is the launch, this is the start menu. And yes, the background music is playing, indeed. Drag it into where you can see it in OBS. And for some reason it's not capturing, I don't know why, so I'm going to add up another window capture here. And I'm going to make it Never7. Okay. Cool. When I ran it with a different system locale, it doesn't capture anymore. Whoops. And as we can see, the opening movie is not playing. Again, I don't know how to deal with that. But if you're wondering, like, do I have that file? Well, I presume. I mean, we have... Actually, we may not have it. Anyway. It works on Windows. I don't know why it's not working here. So I got the background music working, and it is running in English. So, aside from the opening cutscene not playing, which I had that problem with Never7 sometimes as well, and the font being crushed, I can't get it to run like this, I guess, on Linux. And, of course, I don't have that problem that I have on Windows 10, right? I can close it, and then once I've closed it, I can just open it again, as like so, and it just opens again, right? I get to my start menu again, which I'm not dragging into the field of view this time, just to trust that it's there, and it launches, right? So it launches every time reliably, right? And my shortcut's still there, right? I can actually begin from the shortcut, right? So, and I can still read this text. As I wake up, I kick the covers off the bed with all my strength, despite it being a crushed text. So anyway, that's a little demo of kind of where I am with this. So Wine, I don't know why there's like no background music. Let's see what the debug stuff says. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's working. So that's kind of like the status of where I am with Wine and so on, right? That's kind of how it's working and how well and whatever. We can take what you want from that. I don't know, I just found it kind of interesting, so I'm just kind of sharing it. Not a very exciting video, but there you go. Would I try like doing something like PCM or VirtualBox? Probably not. Like, I think I'm kind of given up on this point, or I'm just going to be satisfied with that. I don't know. Time will tell. Like, I thought I made my last Never7 video a long time ago, and I haven't. So, anyway, there's the video. If you watched all the way through all of that kind of rough, garbly-gook, thank you for watching it. And I might see you later on some video that's not about trying to run Never7. I'd like to append on a few more notes here. So, first of all, I have actually tried running Never7 in Windows in compatibility mode. So I've gone into that specific, the application settings and put on, say, XP Service Pack 3 mode and then try running it like that. Again, same result as if you were to run it just without doing that. Is you do get a background process that shows up the task manager called Infinity. However, you don't actually see the game. Anyway, so yes, that's been tried, if you're wondering about that. I also, took a look at the TL wiki page for Never7. The archive of it, of course, the original is no longer there, but it is preserved via means of the Wayback Machine. And something to kind of note here is that the patch has a mistake in it having to do with the append story. So, what we're going to do here is you see this append. We're going to make a new folder. And yes, you can do this in the command line using mcdir if you want to. Everyone likes mcdir. And I call it append-en. And we're going to create it. So this kind of resembles manual en, right? Manual is like the manual. And manual en is the manual in English. But we're going to make an append folder here for English that resembles the append for Japanese. So you have testmode.snr here. I don't know what SNR stands for in this case. I know it stands for, in some context, signal to noise ratio. I don't know what it means in this case, though. And then we're going to have something inside called yuka-cure with these files in it. So inside append.in, we're going to do a mcdir, not literally, but like equivalent to the Linux command mcdir, called, make a new directory called yuka-cure, just like we see in just the regular append. And then we're going to, and then inside we're going to put some files inside that yuka-cure. So on append.en, we have these, here on the regular append, we have yuka c underscore yuka 0.snr up to c underscore yuka 7.snr. So we're going to grab those out of manual en. So this one up to this one. We're going to cut them, and we're going to paste them into here. There you go. Ubuntu is convenient because it has this graphical interface like Windows, like all the hotkeys you're familiar with will work, like Control X, Control V, right? Control X to cut, Control V to paste, and so on. And then we're also going to, out of manual, grab the other three SNR files. Not manual, sorry, manual en. So those will be demo1.snr, demo2.snr, and testmode.snr. We're just going to put that in append.en in the top level, not inside the yuka-cure folder. So testmode.snr is going to resemble the test.mode.snr in the regular append. And I don't know what the demos do. Okay, so we're going to just rearrange the file system like that. And then inside manual en, we just have the manual stuff left. Just have HTML files. And I presume index.html will open Firefox, which I have on a different monitor, so it won't... Oh, okay. It happened on this monitor. And that will allow me to, navigate through the manual, which hopefully these links point to the other... Yeah, these other links hopefully point to other HTML files in the manual directory. Sweet. And I can go into the game to test that, so I'm going to actually do that right now. So we're going to launch. What in the world? Did I mess up the install of the codec? Okay, well, let's not do it that way. Let's bring up a terminal. Okay, here's my terminal. And let's not worry about the codec stuff. Oh, it's not in the right directory. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, so cd games / Never7, right? / physical whatever I'm calling this. Okay, now let's run it. Okay. So don't be too alarmed there. It was just I didn't forget to use wine. So, okay, this is odd because I see the background music appear on desktop audio, but I don't hear it personally. So let me try to fix my audio settings here. Settings, and then let me switch it to my sound card, which you can't see that on my recording because I'm recording a different monitor. Yeah, it's set to output on my microphone, so let me set it on my sound card. Now I can hear it, okay. So I see, even though I tried to, I messed around with the xvid codec, because I thought that not having the xvid codec installed on Ubuntu may have to do with why the opening, movie wasn't playing. But, I can see that. Why is my audio all weird now? My desktop audio is not recording anything all of a sudden. I don't know why. This is weird. Okay. When I switched the audio to my sound card, it made it so that it was no longer... OBS stopped recording desktop audio. So now I actually hear the music for the opening cutscene, and it's not actually showing up on the video. But you heard the first part of it, so... Anyway, so why it's not playing is something to do with not having the xvid codec installed. However, the TL wiki page for Never7 suggests that if you don't have the xvid codec installed, it won't just play a black screen. What'll happen is it'll play it'll crash. So the black screen isn't the actual problem. So I have something to do with wine or something. But anyway, we're going to skip to the menu, and the music's playing for me, but because when I changed my settings, my audio settings, it made it so it didn't show up on the recording. Let me try switching the settings back. See, now you can hear it on the recording, but you can't. I can't hear it. See, you can hear the music now, can't you? That's funny. And now I'm going to switch it to my sound card, and now you can't hear it. Anyway. So you can't hear it right now. Let's go to the append store and make sure my check worked. I don't know what's going on here, but begin, I guess. What in the world? What in the world is this? Okay. This is just the sprites. That's all this is. Okay, so this is test mode. So return, quit, extras, okay, so that was test mode. What's this one? Begin this. Yuka's theme background 1, which you can't hear because my OBS is all messed up. Okay, so this is just testing all the musics. Return to title. Yes, return to title. I'm gonna make this bigger in OBS so you can see it. There you go. Because you probably couldn't see any of that. Okay. What's this one? Begin. Begin test mode. Please select a test menu. Text display, background display, character display, effect display. Collision 1. Collision 2. Collision 3, strong. Earthquake, weak. Earthquake, middle. Earthquake, strong! Okay, this is... I presume this works. Return to title. What's this? Begin Yuka's POV story. Error, variable definition format. Interesting. So the alright thing to select showed up. Like this right text, right? Yuka's POV story starts from the first day of the second loop. The continuation of Yuka's first loop, please play. But it doesn't load correctly. Interesting. Well, I wonder if it works in Japanese. We'll try it in Japanese later. Cool. Let's end. Quit. And then let's launch it in Japanese. So let's launch Japanese. So it's just Never7 win, right? Yeah. Okay. So this should be the Japanese one. And the background music will not play because I don't have the disc in, so it's warning me about that. So let's run it anyway. Cool. And I'm going to drag this bigger as well. So let's go to a pin story. We only see two things. Let's see, this is probably a test mode. So let's not do it. It's probably Yuka Cure, right? Let's load it. So it loads in Japanese just fine. Okay. Interesting. Huh. Close out of that and see if I can find a discrepancy. So going into the file system again, so we have append Yuka Cure, we have these files, append en Yuka Cure, have the same looking files. Huh. Well, I did what I could do. And it did work, but it did not work. But these the demos did work. The test mode worked, just this one did not for some reason. If anyone has any ideas about how to fix that, let me know. So there's kind of three issues where I'm having here. One is the Yuka Cure isn't working in English, as I just demonstrated. The second issue is the whole font problem, right? So that is, as you can see, the fonts, like, this font's all super narrow. It's still readable, but super narrow. And I have an idea, it probably has something to do with half-width and full-width characters in Japanese. So anybody who's familiar with Japanese typing, which I'm not really, might know of like what half-width and full-width are. It's probably something to do with that, and there might be something I can change like in some file somewhere in Linux that will specify full width instead of half width or something like that. And I just need to know how to do it. Like how to specify full width characters in Ubuntu. But I don't know how to do it right now, so I still have this half width character kind of problem. And the, let's see, the third problem is the opening movie not playing, basically. So those are my 3 problems. If you want to count the CD thing not working in English, you can count that as a 4th problem. So if anybody has any ideas about how we would actually fix that problem, let me know. There are other like movies in Never7. Like every time you do a loop, you get a little looping movie, right? So if the opening movie doesn't work, that suggests that maybe those movies, like the looping movies and like the end credits, also don't work. Although I just haven't clicked through far enough to actually get there. If I actually got that deep in, so that little animation worked. We might be able to tell there. I forgot how far I have to go in, though, in order to get a movie. So the CGs work. The voice acting's working. You can't hear it because it's... Whoops. I accidentally made a choice there. Anyway. There you go, I guess. There's a little bit more, information there. But it's installing the xvid codecs didn't help with getting the opening cutscene to play. Okay, so what happened is I recorded the last segment, and then I watched the recording back, and I saw that the way I captured the game window was such that it covered up the error that was thrown on the terminal when trying to load the append story. So when I watched the video back, I couldn't extract from it what the error message actually was. So I had to go back into Linux, drop what I was doing, and go back over to this system, and reproduce that error message. So that's what I went to do, and this is what happened. So I'm going to I'm going to go back to my mouse is not on the terminal. Go to the terminal, launch the game. And then this is the start menu. Drag it over, hit start. Okay. So now I heard the background music playing earlier. We're not hearing it now for some reason. So I'm going to go into my audio settings. See if I can fix that. Probably won't be able to. Oh yeah, I know what I did. Okay. Okay, now you can hear the background music, right? Yeah. I unplugged my microphone and plugged it back in, and what that did is it made my audio output device my microphone. So you can see that that's working still. You can see the video is not working still. Let's go to the appends. Now let's go to, well, Yuka, right? So this one. Yuka's POV story. And say begin. and it just starts. It just works. I didn't change anything. All I did was turn the computer off and turn it back on again in Windows, and then turn it back off and then turn it back on again in Linux. So I don't even know what the error was because I didn't record it on the video because I was covering it up on the video. And so it's completely lost to history. So if you have the exact same problem, I can't figure out how to solve it myself because I don't even have to solve it. It solved itself. So the whole append story problem has been solved. Magically. Inexplicably. Okay? So we got that one solved. We still have return to title. It's funny because that doesn't that might like right click drop down is not being recorded by OBS. So it's like you have no idea like how like I'm moving my mouse in some funny L shape. You don't know why. The opening video still doesn't play, so that is still a problem. And I believe the codec, like if you don't have the right codec installed, it's not that it doesn't. It's not like it simply doesn't play the visual, like here where you don't see the visual. It actually will crash instead. So this seems to be a somewhat of a different problem. I installed the codec and it appeared to install correctly. So anyway, videos aren't playing, but the audio of the video is playing, just not the visual. So we still have that problem. And we still have the problem, and we don't know how that will manifest itself later on in the game, and whether that causes more problems later. If we keep going until we get to a video. And, I don't know if any of the, because my patch that I got off those forums is out of date, I might have had some of those issues described, like hard crashes on the TL wiki they describe. And then lastly, still I still have the remaining problem of the text being squashed horizontally. So again, it's still readable, but it's all squashed horizontally. And this probably has something to do with the ambiguity between full-width and half-width characters in Japanese char sets. And it's interpreting all the characters as like half-width for this particular, for Wine or Windows 10 or so on, or so on, and it shouldn't. But somehow that is carrying over into the English for some reason, the Roman characters, where they're being half-widthed. So that's just a guess. I don't know for certain. My guess is it has something to do with half-width characters. So we're still having the half-width problem. I mean, I say it's readable, but like, consider this in-O here, right? This no. And that in, it's really hard to tell that it's an in and not an M, right? We almost read that and go like, mo. So, and this now, right? Like, yes, I can tell it's a now because I know this is a right. So like, my cursor's not on any of this. There we go. Here's the no I was talking about. Here's the now. Like, you have some context to figure out this says now, right? So, it's readable, but it's, like, a little bit annoying. It's not like it's no effort. Anyway, let's try putting a save, just to make sure that works, because there's no way to, like, make sure that, because, like, you know, I don't know if that fails, right? Return to title. Return to title. Now let's close out of the game. And then let's relaunch the game. Yes, I'm looking at the startup menu. It's not being recorded. Okay, it's launched. And now let's hit continue. Do you see a save here? Load. Yeah, there's nothing here loads. Okay, so the saving and loading works. Okay, so Anyway, that's the state I am right now with Wine. So it's better than nothing. It's better than like Windows 10 where it just like doesn't launch and you get nothing. It's not perfect. Running on Windows 7 would theoretically be better. That's my conclusion. But if you're to go through this whole game here, you might get it to might be a okay experience. Hopefully this will be the last sub-segment, and then I'll, I don't know. I don't know how to end this video. I should just hit stop recording.